piss easy steps on how to cover a cake in fondant and get results like that. So basically, cover your cake in whatever means you feel you want, as in buttercream, ganache. I strongly suggest, if you don't know about ganache, get to know about ganache, because it will make this process a hell of a lot easier. So as you can see, I've got my fondant. I roll a bit out, enough to cover the top. I'm lubing the top up. Again, whatever means you find better. I use water. You can use Trex. You can use jam, whatever. So we're just rolling out enough to cover the top of the cake at the minute, as you can see. So what we're going to do now is grab another board and flip the whole bloody cake over. So once you've flipped it over, you're going to get a craft knife or something right sharp, and you're going to trim that excess off that you can see coming out the bottom. So the bottom of the cake is actually the top of the cake at the minute. It's upside down, all right? So trim all that off. Doing it this way, you get perfect results almost every time. I mean, you can trim it while it's the right way up, but just look, once I've flipped it again, at the result. So the reason I flip it again, look at that, right good. The reason I flip it again is so that I can tacky up that top edge of fondant so that I can stick the side panel on, basically. So all I'm doing is using a tape measure to get the circumference and the height, and then this allows me to roll out a big long piece of fondant, just slightly bigger than those measurements. You need it bigger because you need to play with the excess, all right? So roll it out bigger. Get yourself a craft knife or a pizza cutter and cut yourself a straight edge. It doesn't have to be super straight, but it just helps with sort of working with things at the minute. So we're cutting off, again, important, this piece of fondant is longer and higher than I need, but we need the excess, but we don't need too much excess. That's why I'm cutting a little bit off. So once you've got to this stage, we're going to roll it back up on itself and just smooth out, as you can see, the very edge of it, so that when we do start rolling back up on itself, because it's fondant, all right, it's soft, every little mark and everything gets picked up. So roll it back up on itself, and you want to bring your cake back in. So we have moistened up the sides of the cake again. I just use water, use whatever you bloody well want. And super important, like I said, to make sure that top edge of that fondant is stickied up as well, so that it sticks to it all. Flip the whole bloody thing over again, and now we're gonna pop that up against the cake, as you can see, and then the first flap, make sure it's adhered to the cake. Don't stick it right down at the minute, because we're going to take that back off. I know, bizarre, but just watch the magic. And then we're going to roll the whole thing back on itself, making sure it's stuck to the cake as you go around, and making sure that it's like level with the bottom as well. So you're rolling it around and you don't get like a wibbly wobbly edge. So look, it overlaps. Now grab yourself a ruler and a sharp knife, cut through the overlap. So your top bit is overlap. Well, yeah, duh, that's what overlap means. You know, that bottom bit, you need to make sure that they are like that, so that you cut through both pieces. And then, as you can see me demonstrate here, pull that bit off and then sort of flip it back a bit, and then the underneath piece, because that's been cut through as well, that comes off, and the joins meet up almost perfectly. Doesn't work this well every single time, don't be fooled, you know. It all takes a bit of practice, but yes, get a little bit of water again and just stick that bad boy seam together. Spend a bit of time smoothing it all out, and it becomes almost invisible, believe me. So again, you're looking at the bottom of the cake here, so I'm just getting a knife and leveling, sort of sitting it on the board so it's level, and run it all the way around, and that gives you a perfect cut bottom. And for the third and final time, ladies and gentlemen, flip your cake again. And look at that. I haven't even done any smoothing, or, I mean, you can, and I do spend a bit of time now smoothing it all out to make it better than perfect, but There you go. Piece of piss, really.